This was in my heart to talk about this because this is a very serious matter that happens during these times, and this is just something everyone should be aware, be aware of. Road rage is serious. People literally want to hurt you. People literally want to fight you. People literally want to pow you. People want to literally unalive you over driving something they didn't like. I'm bringing this up because I want you to realize that people out here, they are under the influence of probably drugs or alcohol or both. Also, you have to remember a lot of them have mental issues, so they are taking medications, and that's the reason probably why they're upset, because they're not taking their medications and they get out here and do the most. So usually too, I always think someone has a gun. I'm sorry, a pow-pow. I can't say that. Someone has a pow-pow. Always think about that, because you got to pay attention to your surroundings and to people. People are not playing. So I know, a situation where a young man was followed home because I think he cut someone off. It wasn't even intentional. It was just like he cut someone off, and they followed him home, and they shot the young man, at home, in front of his house. So it's like people will get out here and hurt you. So you all have to be careful in Chicago and anywhere else. This is just not for Chicago, it's for anywhere, because you have cray everywhere. One of the things you don't do is blow your horn at someone. Even if it's a friendly tap of the horn to tell them that, hey, the light is green, or hey, you can go instead of me if you're at a corner, or just for any reason, don't blow your horn. For some reason, people get seriously agitated about that. They just act like it's the world, because a lot of times, just like texting, you may misinterpret what the message was supposed to really be. The message was just to be like, hey, can you can go now, to maybe somebody is not looking or paying attention, and they're just trying to, whoever is honking the horn is trying to get that attention. But people take it more serious than that. They take it like it's insulting. It's just like, it's just like rude. So that's one of the things you don't do, is blow your horn at people. My family has a fit if I blew my horn just a eek, a small little tap, no matter what, even I can understand if it was like or nobody's around me so I can blow. But if it's just like a beat like that, come on, really. So be very careful. Don't blow your horn at folks, okay? Another thing, number 2. That was number 1. This is number 2. Don't flicker your lights at people. You remember back in the day through driver's ed, I don't know if they're still doing it, but back in the day they would say, hey, flick your lights if you're at a corner, to let the other person know that, they can go, and, it's okay. They can, whatever it is, they can, go if you're like at a 4-stop corner. No, don't do that. No flicking the lights. No flicking the lights. People will literally follow you home and try to hurt you. Don't do that. There have been cases where people have done that, and people have gotten upset over that. A mild road rage, not a mild, but a road rage, because road rage, nothing mild about road rage. Nothing. Road rage is very serious. So don't flicker your lights. People get very insulted about that. It's just almost like blowing a horn. And that was taught to us back in the day in driver's education when I was like 16. That was way back in the day. So, but my point is, it was still something that was taught in school for us to do, but that's not a good idea these days, 2025. So do not flicker your lights. Not only that, I think also some people get insulted that you did that, and they feel like you're hurting their eyes, like you like injured them. Not injured them, but like, oh, he hurt my eyes, he flickered that light. That's insulting, or so. And then if someone's under the influence, if someone is under the influence, oh, I wasn't supposed to say those words. I have to watch that on YouTube, because YouTube will be like, no, you can't use this. You can't be saying certain things and using that video for that. So do not flicker your lights at people. People get agitated with that, and it leads to serious consequences. Another thing is, number 3, do not cut people off. Do not cut people off. And then have the nerve to drive slow. When they, don't cut people off. That is insulting, and that will lead to road rage. Haven't you ever seen had it ever happened to you where someone got in front of you and on purpose went real slow because they felt like you were going too slow? In fact, I had that happen to me by some irritable young ladies, and I guess they felt like I was just moving too slow. And they were I don't want to say who they were, but they were people with a uniform, and they thought I was going too slow down the street, and they were in back of me, and then they got in front of me when we came to a light, because it was a very tight street that hit a light. And then we came to the light, they jumped in front of me, and then they parked right in front of me on a side angle, so I couldn't make a right or go forward or make even a left. Then when the light turned green, they still sat there. And I'm like, really? Is it that serious? And then the light turned red, and then they crossed the street, and they knew I wasn't going to break the law and go across it. It was just rude. And it was just people, that's why I said people have issues. And especially if you're wearing uniforms and you're using that to your advantage to mess with people, I think that is just, that's just the lowest. I wish, at the time, I wish I could have gotten their license plate and information and reported it, But I wasn't thinking, because I think I was more in shock about it, thinking really? Is it that serious? So watch yourself cutting people off. People get really agitated. In fact, I had some family members who I don't think or know if they cut someone off. They said they don't know what had happened. They didn't, as far as they knew, they didn't do anything. They don't, you know what I mean? They didn't cut anyone off. They didn't blow the horn. They didn't flicker at anyone. And this dude, he was an old dude, Caucasian dude, and he kept coming up to their, to the side of the car, beeping his horn and cursing at them and calling them all kind of, none driving this and all that. And he was just speeding up and getting in front of them and slowing down. And they were terrified. And they were like, what is going on? And they actually reported that guy to the police. And they also got the make and model of the car, but they weren't able to get a license plate. So, I'm sorry, by the time they got the camera, he was on the side of them, and they couldn't get really any information from his car due to the car. So they could only go by the make, model, and the guy, his description. And when they got to the police station, they did find out that there were reports coming in that this dude was snapping off at other people, and other people were reporting him because it was in a small suburb. So it wasn't just them. This guy was just really peed off with people. He was really upset and just was doing the most. And he was an old dude, over probably in his 60s, and they don't know why he was snapping off. So it was reported to the police by other drivers that encountered him. So at least that was, being reported, and hopefully they did catch him and slowed him down. He doesn't need a license because he's out there in a car doing the most. So whatever you do, don't cut anyone off. Come on, what the fuck you doing? Damn. I'm sorry. Okay, somebody looked like they weren't going to stop, like they were going to ram right into the back of my car. And see, I didn't honk, and I just moved up, reacting that way. I didn't make no gestures. I didn't put my hands up. That's another thing. The next thing is, do not flip the bird at people. Flipping the bird, meaning putting your middle finger up, doing the FU sign with your middle finger. Do not do that to people. People will be upset with you. You know that. Anybody would be upset with you. I would be upset with you. But these other people will try to run you off the road, or try to pow you, or unalive you, or what have you, and follow you home, and maybe vandalize your car, anything. So you don't want that to happen. So do not flip the bird. If people do flip their middle finger at people, I would even suggest within that, don't do hand gestures. Don't do like I could have did hand gestures, like, why? Like, what are you doing? So I didn't even do that, any hand gestures, because whoever that was might, I don't know what's going on with them. They almost look like I don't know if they're paying attention or not paying attention or whatever, but they look like they're going to ram the back of my car, So I didn't do any hand gestures or anything, because you don't know how that's going to, upset anybody. You don't want to upset anybody. God forbid. So, no flipping the bird, parentheses, or hand gestures toward people. They get highly upset, like I said, here in Chicago and anywhere. Because I don't want anyone going, oh, that's just going on over there. No, I bet this is going on in a lot of other cities. I'm just pinpointing and telling you, and emphasizing on what's going on in Chicago. So do not flip the bird. Another thing to also be aware of when you're driving: don't double park on a street that only one car can fit down, especially if there's parking. How many times have any of you went down a one-way street and only one car could fit, and someone was double parked talking to someone who was standing outside their car? And when you pulled up, they did not budge, they did not move. In fact, they didn't even look at you. No, I take that back. Some people don't look at you, and they know you're there, but some people will look at you, and then some people will still not budge and not move, or not even look like they want to end the conversation, or they won't say pull the car over, or they won't pull the car over, and you see that there's plenty of space. They could do that. I've encountered that many of times, and I've also heard that people have done that, and that has caused situations where people were being that rude, double parking, not moving, and they got hold of they waited till the wrong car came up behind them, and that car behind them came out and made a situation of the whole thing. So do not double park in the middle of the street, and when you see a car coming, you do not move. Please don't do that. That's just obviously just disrespectful and just rude, because you're not even having respect for the people that pulled up behind you, and you're acting that way. Nine times out of 10, people that act that way, that do any road rage, my assumption is they have a pow, and so they feel, and that makes them bold. And not only that, again, they're under some type of influence, or they didn't take their medication. So at this point, they don't give a flying fuck about anything. So don't do that. The next thing is, don't gesture like you're getting out of your car if someone is like upsetting you. I've seen it happen where one person is doing something upsetting and the people in the car are gesturing like they're about to get out the car. Don't do that. Oh. Don't do that. Because when you do that, people think you're going to get out the car. And if they think you're going to get out the car, they think you're going to get out the car with something other than fists or hands. And so what you don't want is, you don't want them to retaliate. So whatever you do, do not pretend or gesture that you're getting out of a car, because that will cause something. Because sometimes you have two cars, say they were at a stop sign, maybe something happened where one cut the other one off, or someone was mouthing off. Well, the one, whoever's in the other car, either one of you, just don't pretend like you're about to get out the car, because now that person thinks that you're going to retaliate, and now you have a situation that's on your hands. And they're not about laying hands these days. These days, probably about 45% of the population might have pow-pows. So, you don't want to, I didn't say the word, so you don't want to activate that. Okay? So far, those are the main thing that causes road rage. Another thing is, if you have a pow-pow, don't hold it up while you're in your car. Because guess what? The other person, they're not going to right away be like, oh, they're not going to right away like pull theirs out. They're going to wait until you get to the next light and have theirs already ready. And they're not even going to even investigate or show you theirs. Because the thing is, my father and a lot of other people, even even people that teach classes for pow-pows, they will tell you, don't pull anything out unless you're going to use it. And usually you only do it if you're under a life-threatening situation that you feel is threatening your life and your loved ones. That's the only time you're supposed to pull out anything, is when you're in danger. Your life is in danger. So don't do that. That is because everyone thinks, because they have something, they think it's okay to like show this and pull it out. I had a friend last year who was, I think it was in I want to say the beginning of 24. He was like the fourth person in the city of Chicago who lost their life to pow-pow violence. And one of the reasons, supposedly, the people he had the altercation with, he showed them his pow-pow. Maybe it was another day, I think another day before or something like that. And they were like, oh, that's what okay. And so people take that very seriously, as very serious, I should say, not seriously, but they take it seriously. And there's no mercy for some people. And what I mean about no mercy for some people is this: the people that retaliate, they're like, that's a serious thing you did, and if you mess around and do that, you threatened my life, even though you didn't use it, but the gesture of showing it and bringing that out, So here in the city, you don't show what you got unless you're going to use it. I don't know why I keep looking over here, and I guess I should be looking here, right? So that you have to, be careful. You just have to. like I said, people take these things serious. And again, you have to remember, people are under the influence most of the time, or they have really psychological issues. A lot of them. Let's not even blame it on medication. Let's just say some people don't take a medication, but they really have a psychological problem, or they're angry. Some people are angry, at the moment. You caught them at the wrong time, and things happen. I remember also some people. When I made me remember something is some people are just naturally might be angry one particular day for whatever reason. I remember I was in traffic one day, and it was a mild traffic. It was like a stop and start kind of traffic, but it was mostly moving. And I remember this guy was like just riding bumper to bumper on people's bumpers, and it was just insane, because it's like the person can't even go anywhere because there's obviously other trucks and cars in front of that person, and you're on someone's bumper. And then so when it kind of happened to me at that moment, because I didn't see him doing this before, I just noticed him when he got on my bumper. Then so I was like, why is this guy riding my bumper? And then I started moving even slower, as like away from the other truck, just to let him know I'm not about to go bumper to bumper with a car or a truck in front of me. Like what you're doing, as if that's telling them to move it faster. So he finally got from in back of me, and I didn't look at him because I wanted to see who was this. Was this a lady, a man? I couldn't even see them. And then when he got on the side of me, he was a guy. So but the thing was, when he got beside me, now he's on the bumper of another car. And so I was like, oh, this guy's just like looking for a fight. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for trouble. So I was like, oh, so I was like, okay, it's nothing personal, or I didn't do anything. He's just having a bad day, and he's bullying his way through traffic. And then so I had seen him like doing all this back and forth, in and out, weaving, and it was just all. And when you look at them in front of you, it's like he's gonna make someone have an accident, because he was just like cutting people off. And that was another thing too. Before or right after he pushed, like he didn't push, but he was like bullying the other car to go forward further. He like squeezed in between me and another car, and it's like, had I not just like slowed down drastically, he would have hit the front of my car, because he was like trying to make a lane change and not paying attention to the distance between my car and the car in front of him and his back bumper. So I was like, this guy's just crazy. He's just doing crazy stuff. Then so he was just in and out, zigzagging and doing the same thing. And it was just so funny, because have you ever seen people do that, and then next thing you know, they're like either behind you or right next to you again? It's like they really didn't even gain any ground from all that weaving in and out of traffic that they did. They didn't gain any ground. And that's what I was doing. I was like looking at him, and I was like trying not to be obvious, looking at him like, yeah, that's what your butt get. And then so he finally was getting off the ramp again in someone's, on their bumper, trying to like bully them to go faster or something. And I was just like shaking my head like, you just have some people out here. So getting to that, another thing is, don't be riding on someone's bumper. Even though a lot of times too, I know some people do that to keep other cars from getting in between your car. Well, some cars don't look at it that way. The car in front of you might look at it like you're being rude and trying to bully them to go faster. And sometimes people are doing that to prevent another car from getting in between their car and the one in front of them. Do not ride bumper to bumper with cars. That's a no-no, because that's rude, and then that causes accidents, because sometimes the car in front of you may make a quick stop, and you may not stop fast enough, and guess what? They've been watching you the whole time, and then once you hit them, they're like, why are you riding my bumper? This would have never happened had you not been riding the bumper. Now, hopefully they can wait for the police to come to fill out, to fill out a report. But then again, you got road rage. You got rage happening. So do not do bumper to bumper out here in Chicago or anywhere. It is rude, and people will try to call you out on it and take matters in their own hands instead of waiting on the police, especially if you hit them. You know, sometimes car accidents happen and people start fighting instead of waiting on the police because they're so angry their car got towed up or whatever. Well, that's a thing that happens. So I hope these are good tidbits, but remember, people are on some type of medications that are legal and illegal, and some people are taking legal medications but maybe didn't take their legal medication that day or a couple of days or a week, and so they're out here doing the most. You don't want to get caught up in that, of people doing the most because they're having a bad day, because they think the world sucks or they think you suck, and so they're going to tell you about it, or they're going to show you, or they're going to follow you home. There are a lot of cases out here of road rage that has happened where people, will, pow your car or pow at you. There have been cases where two people have met their match, where both had a pow and they were both powing down the freeway, but guess what? Now you're involving other people and causing accidents. And unfortunately, us as regular drivers, we can't prevent that because we're just minding our business, but all of a sudden you got people coming from behind you who are powing back and forth at other cars. And all the time when people pow, the people they're powing at don't even get hit. It'd be other people in other vehicles or standing around or what have you. So remember these tidbits. Do watch road rage in Chicago, especially if you're in Chicago. Things that I've just said in this video are no-nos. Anywhere else, I would still practice it everywhere else, because you might have some Chicago folks living there who are doing the most in these other cities and other states, who are bringing that nonsense to your state. So just remember, keep all this stuff in your head and keep your head. All right? So I hope these are helpful hints. If they were, please subscribe and hit the like button. I'm going to bring you more content on a lot of other things. All right? Peace out.